Why do bad things happen? Here's the real reason why bad things happen in your life. I am sharing some very deep spiritual concepts with you today, so prepare to open your mind. Now, I created a blog post on the same subject a few years ago, and while I do still agree with what I said in that blog post, I didn't really even scratch the surface of this topic, and now I have awakened to more truth, so I'm sharing what I believe with you now. Today I'm sharing some very advanced spiritual concepts that most people aren't ready for, but as you are watching me here right now, I'm assuming you are somewhat ready for what I'm about to say. Here's what most people believe about bad things. Some people believe that life is completely random and unspiritual. Other people believe that humans are the ones that create all the bad things because they have free will. Some people believe that humans desire to do bad things because they were raised by people who did bad things to them. And the phrase hurt people springs to mind here. And some people believe in a combination of all of the above. Most people could never think that bad things were created by God because God is a loving God and God cares about his people and God would never harm his people. Now here's what I believe about bad things. I believe in one mind, one universal mind, that there is no separate consciousness, that there is only one consciousness, and that is of the universal mind. You might want to call this universal mind God. I like to call the universal mind the director. Now if you try and put yourself in the position of the director is just one mind. It's unlimited. It experiences everything at the same time. There is literally no limit to what the director can create. But this in itself is a limitation because the director can never experience something external to the director that the director hasn't created itself. So the director can never really experience a relationship where somebody is external and loving the director. The director always knows that if the director creates another being and creates that being to love the director, then the director will know that that being doesn't really love the director, doesn't really truly love the director. It was forced to, like a robot. So the director really wants to experience being loved truly by somebody who has free will. So for the director to experience this, the director must create such a being and cut off the consciousness so that the director can experience relationships. The director creates a man and a woman, and those humans have a consciousness which is part of the director consciousness, but it is cut off, it is limited, and those humans have forgotten that they are actually just a creation of the director, and that those humans are now free to love each other and believe that they are being loved by a separate being. For the director to have relationships, it must create the illusion of many minds. It must create the illusion of free will and individual preferences. I only believe in free will for the director, not for the humans. Humans are giving all of their actions and all of their thoughts from the director. Humans are made to forget that they are the director. And although humans believe that they have free will, they don't actually have free will. So they're not responsible for their own actions because their actions were given to them by the director. The director impressed all things on humans, good and bad. But why would the director invent bad things? Why would the universal mind invent bad things at all? Why not just make positive, happy things to experience? Because the director had a desire to experience relationships where it appeared like the human had free will and was being loved by another person who also had free will, this is what the director invented. And for these relationships to feel authentic and for them to feel real, humans have to feel like they do have free will, like they have free will over what they prefer, what actions they take, and what they decide to do and how they decide to treat people. You wouldn't feel truly loved by another person if you didn't feel like that person chose to love you. And for there to be the illusion of free will, you have to believe as a human that you have free will to do both good and bad, because if you only had the ability to do good, then you wouldn't believe that you had free will. So it's part of the illusion. A human believes that they have free will, they believe everybody else has free will. When somebody chooses to love that human, it feels amazing because they feel like they've really chosen. If we didn't have that illusion of free will, then we wouldn't be able to really feel this amazing feeling that somebody chose to love you. So good and bad things are necessary to convince us that we have the free will to choose good and bad, and that people really do choose to love us because we all have the free will. Sometimes people choose to hurt us, and that's essential because without hurt we wouldn't really know what love is. We need that contrast. We need to experience both love and hurt for us to have a full and balanced life. Here's another reason why we need good things and bad things in our lives. Life would be very boring without good and bad things. Life would feel very dull without fear to motivate us and excite us. Yes, fear can be positive. Life would feel very much like our home if it felt too easy. Without bad things, we would never be able to be motivated to look outside of our human selves and see if there was a greater power out there. We wouldn't need a greater power because we'd just be so good, everything would be so perfect. Why do we need to even look for a greater power? Without bad things, there would be nobody to help, because we only are able to help people when they are suffering. So that means most jobs would disappear, and even if there were jobs still there, we wouldn't want to do them because we would probably perceive those as a negative, as a bad thing, and we want this perfect experience, so nobody would go to work, everybody would just lie on the beach all day having their good perfect experience. And then life would get very boring and we wouldn't get the fulfillment and the creativity involved in helping other people. That really makes us feel balanced in life. To have that feeling of being able to help people is essential for humans. Without bad things, we wouldn't get creative and we wouldn't invent new things to help further on the human race and stop things from getting boring. Without bad things, we would just be God. We would be the universal mind. We would be the director. We wouldn't be a human. So there would be no need to be a human if the human is exactly the same as God. God decided that God wanted to be a human, and therefore God is being a human. Without bad things, we wouldn't appreciate the things that we truly care about as much. Without bad things, we wouldn't grow as a person, have that feeling of growing and maturing throughout our life and feeling satisfied that we are becoming a better, more well-rounded human being as we age and we're able to pass on our wisdom to other people. There would be none of that because everybody would already be perfect, so we would feel useless. We can't help anybody. Everything in our human life needs to be based on duality. Duality is what makes life a thrilling experience. When things go down, we know they are going to go up again. When we are sad, we know we are going to get happy again. When it's nighttime, we know it will soon be morning. When bad things happen, people come together to do good. People feel close to their community to do good together, and that makes them feel loved. That makes them feel important. That makes them feel valued and fulfilled and creative. The duality of existence is essential for us to experience life as we know it. Without the duality of life, there would just be nothingness. There would just be infinity. And we will experience this nothingness and this infinity again. But right now, we've chosen not to. We've chosen to be the human. We've chosen to accept the duality of life because otherwise we're not human. As a human, it doesn't matter how spiritual we get. We always desire things. We always want things. We want our human needs to be satisfied. We want our human wants to be satisfied. And this is why I love manifestation so much, is because we get to enjoy being a human more when we have that thrill of the chase, desiring something and then finally getting it. That's all what makes life exciting, to not have something and then have something. That's duality as well. And this is what I help people to do, to go from not having something to having it. And I've got 2 videos for you to watch next. Both of these are also very deep. The first one is free will an illusion? This is going to blow your mind. The second video is limiting beliefs, the shocking truth. Go and check those out now. Let me know in the comments below what your views are about bad things and what would it take for you to change your mind. Are you open to changing your mind about bad things? And what limits you to deciding what to believe about bad things? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, like this video and subscribe for more. And now it's your turn to go and put your stamp on the world.